Hello everyone. This might turn out to be a controversial video, but we need to talk about franchise cricket. T20 leagues have been around for more than a decade, in various forms around the world, but since the recent revelations that IPL franchises are moving towards awarding 12-month contracts to players for them to play in various T20 tournaments around the world, there has been a frenzy of debate online. Some say this move is dangerous, while others regard it as the future of cricket. But what's the issue with this? Let's deep dive into this topic right now. To start, we need to look at the Indian Premier League, a 2-month-long tournament played between 10 privately owned franchises based in various Indian cities. With the world's best players, high-quality cricket and a captivated audience, the IPL caught lightning in a bottle. Due in no small part to the success of the IPL, cricket has perhaps never been as lucrative or as popular around the world as it is right now. The IPL's latest broadcast deal alone is something to be celebrated for not only Indian cricket, but world cricket. It's proof that when cricket is packaged in the right way, there is considerable world audience out there to see it. And this package can serve as a gateway for new fans into the longer forms of the game, such as Test cricket. But what this success has caused is a disruption in the old model of how cricket is scheduled and how it makes money. The primary ways that national cricket boards make money is through revenue from areas such as 1. Broadcast media rights and ticket sales, that's your international teams touring their countries, or domestic tournaments like the IPL. 2. Corporate sponsorships. And 3. Prize money from placing in international tournaments like the World Cup. Now, using this revenue, cricket is typically managed in a top-down approach, with national and state cricket each having their own responsibilities. As an example, while Cricket Australia is responsible for cricket nationally, state cricket associations like the Victorian Cricket Association are still funded by Cricket Australia, but they are mainly responsible for overseeing state cricket tournaments, development camps and overall administration at a state level. This arrangement provides a clear pathway for players to go from local, state and then international cricket. State cricket also gains revenue from matchday ticket sales at their home stadiums, memberships and other revenue streams. International cricket is usually the moneymaker for national cricket boards, meaning the priority on the schedule is historically given to these tours. Domestic cricket of course still runs, however attention on TV screens and in the press is given to international cricket. T20 cricket changes this. As we said before, IPL is a dedicated window where international cricket is largely put on hold. It takes precedence over it, and international players who would normally be on tour with their national side instead are playing in this league. Of course, this limits an already tight schedule, and by extension, cricket boards try to cram as much cricket into a limited time frame, making money in order to keep the entire national cricket setup running. This approach is not proving sustainable. There's simply too much cricket and not enough time. The money spinners that international tours used to be are not as lucrative anymore, and in hopes of making up for financial shortfalls, which let's be honest is not helped by the COVID pandemic, cricket boards have looked to create their own T20 leagues in the hopes of recreating the IPL model for themselves. We see this in the CPL, PSL, BBL, Vitality Blast, BPL, LPL, Super Smash, UAE T20, Major League Cricket, and whatever the new South African League is going to be called. None of these leagues, however, have come close to the size, success, or spectre of the Indian Premier League. Furthermore, players are feeling the increased workload and stress on their bodies themselves. Look no further than Ben Stokes, arguably the best one-day all-rounder of the past few years, retiring from one-day cricket because of this workload. He might be the most high-profile case, but he will not be the last. What this means is that despite cricket being in possibly the best position it has ever been in terms of worldwide interest in the sport, it is at a crossroads where this interest is not translating into sustained financial success for cricket as a whole. Rather, we are seeing the pre-existing Big Three getting stronger financially over the remaining full members of the International Cricket Council. Outside of the Big Three, full member nations, not to mention the multitude of associate level members, are struggling to pay for maintaining the game at the highest level. This is where franchise T20 cricket comes in and is put forth as an apparent remedy to these issues. The proposal is for franchise T20 cricket to become the main format that is played around the world. Instead of domestic T20 cricket leagues being scheduled in specific windows between international tours will be scheduled when there are breaks between T20 leagues. With this model, the amount of international test cricket will be cut, one days may be limited to World Cups or scrapped altogether, and T20s will always take precedence. With less cricket to be played, players' workloads will be easier to manage as well. Oh, and with that, players that participate in these leagues will be paid more, a lot more. The argument is that with this reformatting of the schedule, players will work less, the sport's most popular format, T20, will take precedence, thus increasing the viewership and the money, and more money is good. Now on the surface, this seems like it might work. Of course, you're going to have your detractors, you're going to have your sticks in the mud who don't like change. But change is good, right? Right? Well, there are a couple more things that we need to consider. Before we spoke about the financial models for national and state cricket, and that it's an ecosystem that funds the next generation of cricket and generates more future revenue in the process. A major point of difference in the financial model of the IPL is that these franchises are owned by different consortiums of wealthy individuals, from actors to business people. This arrangement means that these owners take a significant cut of any media rights and central sponsorships, while also taking revenue from their own endorsements, merchandise, and home ticket sales. There is no direct linkage between state cricket associations and the private IPL franchises that they share grounds with. So a significant chunk of ticket revenue that these associations may directly expect from such games is taken by the franchises, and the rest is routed through the BCCI. With no linkage, this also directly affects the State Cricket Board's ability to find and develop the next generation of talent. Now this might sound like a bad thing, and to an extent it is, but what this arrangement allows for is the pie of revenue to be made bigger than what was previously expected. With a bigger pie, even though the slice is smaller, the BCCI should be getting more money overall to manage Indian cricket, and in this financially focused mindset, that's the priority. This also puts a larger responsibility on the BCCI to split this revenue in a fair manner across the country. The bigger pie helps players also. Players traditionally get paid on their appearances in state and national teams. Players who play regularly for the national teams typically also get what's called a central contract, which pays them for a set time until that is either extended, like if you're still in the side, or not if you aren't. For a player, though, it's a very unreliable way to make a living. If you have a few series out due to poor form or injury and your replacement plays well, you could soon be without one of these contracts. With current franchise cricket, a player is paid for a tournament. They get paid much more than they normally would also. This means that they can choose what cricket they want to play, and it could even allow them to not work for the rest of the year after this tournament. It gives more power to the players than they would ever have had, and let's be honest, can you blame them for wanting better working conditions with more pay? We'd all love that. Simply put, the possibilities that franchise cricket put forth solves a lot of the financial problems that cricket has found itself in, but unfortunately, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. While it does solve problems, the lure of dollar signs could create problems that, if unsolved, may tear the soul out of this game. IPL franchises have grown to the extent where they have teams in other domestic competitions. Kolkata Knight Rider Group, for example, now has teams in the CPL, this new Major League Cricket, and the upcoming UAE T20 League. Similar steps have been made by other franchises as well, like in South Africa recently with their new league. News reports have also indicated plans for players to be given 12-month contracts. That will mean these players will go between leagues playing for the same franchise group year-round. It has been likened by some to a football model, where you've got Premier League, La Liga and other leagues followed by a World Cup. But to me, that model doesn't fit here. Real Madrid does not own teams in the Premier League, the Bundesliga and the Serie A. They certainly do not allow their best players like Karim Benzema to play in other domestic leagues. And while Manchester City, Red Bull Leipzig and Paris Saint-Germain have all bought clubs in other smaller leagues, their big players are still not shared between these clubs. To me, it seems bigger than that. What we are seeing, in my opinion, is an aspiration towards an American sports league like the NBA or NFL, but on a global scale, where T20 franchise cricket is the pinnacle of the game, and internationals, while valued by some players and fans, take a back seat. What I foresee could happen is a group of cricket franchises playing each other in a variety of different countries. In a year-round league format, these franchises will consist of players tied to 12-month contracts, and their pool of players, rather than coming from a traditional pathway like the one we spoke about earlier, will come from an academy system that each franchise has set up in various locations around the world. We are already seeing these academies popping up now. If this is indeed the case, this has grave ramifications for the international game and expanding the game into new countries. If players are pushed towards the T20 format because of the higher pay, then all of the best talent will develop their game towards that, being locked in 12-month long contracts in the process. The standard of one-day international cricket and Test cricket will decline, bringing less interest into those formats, and they may eventually die out. People in today's age might say that Test cricket will always be the pinnacle, and I'm one of them. But what about in 20 or 30 years, when people didn't watch India beat Australia in Australia, or the 2005 Ashes? Times change, and these moves are for the future more than they are for the now. Moving into this model also raises questions about how the game itself can expand into new markets. What I'm talking about here is not viewing numbers, but grassroots interest in the sport, increasing the number of players in the country and the leagues played. The American sport leagues have all made attempts to expand the game internationally, but they themselves still face issues outside of a few countries where they have been already popular. The concern is that below the full member level, more and more associate level nations are improving their standard of cricket, and without regular international cricket, this progress may stall or even decline. Growth in cricket has come in large part from internationals, people wanting to represent their countries and beat other countries. These rivalries like India versus Pakistan or Australia versus England and their power is forged from a country's history. They are organically made. How do we recreate that in franchise cricket, where the location is not based on history, but where a franchise has bid the most money in that particular country? Franchise cricket risks creating a ceiling over the international growth of the game into the future. For that matter, where does that leave Pakistan, one of the biggest cricketing nations in the world, a passionate fan base and producer of some of the best cricketers who have ever lived, past and present? Is there scope to allow Pakistani players into franchises that are becoming more and more Indian owned? That's a question I don't have the answer to. The last point I want to make is about the real target of this whole system, you and me, the viewer. There is an argument to be made that the IPL is so successful because it is a short league that runs for a couple of months, there's lots of action that grabs our attention span and then it's finished, leaving room for anticipation for the next year. It is that short and sharp model that keeps interest high. Altering that model, instead of increasing the success, may have the opposite effect. The importance of individual games loses its value, and the story that cricket games are lose their meaning as well. The initial moves towards expanded T20 tournaments have demonstrated that this argument may have some merit. In Australia during the 2018-29 season, after the BBL was expanded to 56 regular season games from 40, BBL TV ratings dropped. This decline has motivated Channel 7 in this past 12 months, a major TV partner, to take Cricket Australia to court as a means to get out of this broadcasting deal. Similarly in the IPL, when the IPL expanded to 10 teams in a longer schedule, IPL ratings also dropped. While arguments have been made that these declining figures can be put down to other factors, like switches to other forms of viewing that aren't really recorded, like online streaming, they do nevertheless paint a very concerning picture for franchise owners. If these massive cricket-mad markets are not strong enough to handle an expansion of a few months for selected high-profile leagues, what about when it is the same players, same franchises year-round, only the location of where they play changes? What would that do to a sport that has put all of its eggs in the basket of franchise cricket, and the prospect of the financial rewards that it might hold? The dismantling of the domestic and international cricket systems could stall the game's momentum and set it back years. As a cricket tragic at heart, I am worried for the future of the game, a game that has brought me so much happiness and memories of friendship and new experiences. I worry that in franchise cricket's attempt to catch lightning in a bottle once again, that the soul of the game is being lost in the process. That cricket and the love it has with many of us fans around the world is being taken advantage of in search of ever greater profits. Cricket is being transformed into something that exists not to entertain and bring us together, but to make money. There are many other points to talk about on this topic, such as the lack of voice that us fans have in this situation, things that the national cricket boards are doing to try and stop this trend, and how women's cricket fits into all this. But your time's valuable, and I really thank you for making it this far. To end, I'd like to hear from you and your viewpoints on the situation. Do you think I'm exaggerating, or do you agree with some of the points I've made? Also, if you want to see more videos like this, please let me know below. Likes, shares, and subscribes all help the channel, and I appreciate all of your feedback. On that note, take care, and I'll see you soon.